Your dog is staring at you right now. Maybe his tail is going, slow and steady, like a metronome, keeping time to a song only he can hear. You already know he loves you, that part's never been a question. But what if I told you that the most powerful thing he has ever communicated to you, you walked right past it? Not once. Every single morning. Every single evening. Every single day. And here's the part that's going to bother you. There's one thing that almost every dog owner does instinctively, something that feels completely natural, something that seems like nothing that your dog interprets as a direct signal that you don't fully trust him. We're going to get there. But stay with me, because this builds. Welcome to Canine Mind. If you're new here, go ahead and hit subscribe right now, because this is exactly the kind of content we bring you every single week, the stuff that changes how you see the animal sitting at your feet. Here's the fundamental misunderstanding most people carry around without even knowing it. Because dogs are so expressive, the barking, the jumping, the tail that turns into a full-body wiggle, people assume they're already fluent in dog. They think they're getting the whole conversation, but dogs are operating on two levels simultaneously. There's the visible surface, the stuff everyone sees, and then there's an entirely separate language running underneath it. Quiet and constant, built not from the 10,000 years dogs have spent beside us, but from millions of years of wolf pack behavior that never got erased. It just went deeper, and if you don't know how to read it, you are missing the most honest conversation your dog is capable of having. These 6 behaviors are his love language, and by the time this is done, you are going to look at your dog and see something you never noticed before. Number 1. The lean. Picture this. You're standing in the kitchen. You're on the phone, distracted, half focused on the call and half focused on whatever's on the counter. You're not thinking about your dog, and then, without any announcement, without a bark or a nudge, he just walks over and presses his entire body weight against the side of your leg. Not jumping, not demanding anything, just leaning. You probably reached down automatically, scratched behind his ear, and went right back to your conversation without a second thought. That moment was bigger than you realized. In wolf pack dynamics, physical contact between pack members is never accidental and never casual. It carries information. Wolves press their bodies against the animals they consider their closest allies, the ones they would put themselves on the line for, the ones they have tied their survival to. That contact is a statement. When your dog leans into you, he is physically placing himself against the one being in his environment he considers most essential. Now here is what makes this behavior genuinely fascinating. Dogs that lean are not anxious dogs looking for reassurance from whoever happens to be nearby. Research published in the journal Applied Animal Behavior Science confirmed that leaning behavior in dogs is directly correlated with secure attachment, not anxiety-driven clinginess. Those are two entirely different things, and the distinction matters. An anxious dog leans because the world outside frightens him, and he needs a buffer. A securely bonded dog leans because, to him, you are the world. The difference shows up in the details. Is his body relaxed? Are his eyes soft? Is his weight comfortable and settled against you? Or is he trembling, scanning the room, panting, even though it isn't hot? The first one, that's the love language. That's your dog saying, in the most physical and unambiguous way he knows how, you are my anchor in all of this. And before we go further, number 4 on this list is the behavior that nearly every dog owner on the planet has completely misread. I've watched it happen again and again. It looks like a problem. It looks like a red flag. It is the exact opposite. Don't skip ahead. Number 2, the yawn. This one has been misunderstood for decades. Maybe the energy in the room is off, you just corrected him for something, or there's someone visiting he doesn't quite know yet, or you've dragged a rough day home with you, and the whole house feels a little heavier than usual. Your dog looks right at you. And then he opens his mouth into a long, slow, theatrical yawn. Most people read that as indifference. He's bored. He doesn't care. He checked out. He is none of those things. Animal behaviorists refer to this as a calming signal, a term first developed by Norwegian dog trainer and researcher Turid Rugars, who spent decades observing thousands of dogs interacting with one another and with people. What she found was striking. Dogs yawn deliberately, not because they're tired, but because they're actively attempting to lower the tension in a situation. In dog-to-dog communication, a yawn carries the weight of a white flag. It says, "I'm not here for conflict. Let's bring this back down." When your dog yawns at you, especially right after a correction, or in the middle of a moment that's emotionally charged, he isn't tuning you out. He is working. He's read the shift in your energy. He's registered that something is off between the two of you, and he is responding with one of the most sophisticated tools in his social repertoire. He's trying to calm the room down. He's trying to take care of you. There's even more to it. Dogs yawn contagiously in response to human yawns, a phenomenon studied at the University of Tokyo, where researchers found that dogs yawned far more reliably in response to their own owner's yawn than to the yawn of a complete stranger. In humans, contagious yawning is linked to empathy, and it appears the same connection holds true in dogs. Your dog is neurologically wired to feel what you feel. The yawn is the evidence. Number 3. The check-in glance. You're at the park. Your dog is off the leash, fully in his element, nose to the ground, moving through a landscape of smells that you could never begin to imagine, completely absorbed in the experience of being a dog. He's 20, maybe 30 feet away, and then, for just a fraction of a second, he stops. He turns his head. He finds you with his eyes, holds it for a beat, and then goes right back to what he was doing, like nothing happened. That glance lasted 1 second. It meant everything. This behavior has an official name in animal attachment research: referencing. It was studied extensively by researchers at EUTVERS-Lorand University in Budapest, one of the most highly regarded canine cognition research centers in the world. What they found was that dogs, unlike wolves, and unlike nearly every other domesticated animal we share our lives with, have developed a specific cognitive mechanism that allows them to track their human's position, attention level, and emotional state even while engaged in something completely independent. In plain terms, your dog has a dedicated part of his brain whose job is to keep tabs on you, even when he's busy doing something else entirely. Wolves don't do this with humans. Other animals don't do this with humans. Dogs do. And the frequency of those glances maps directly to the strength of the bond. Dogs with secure, trusting attachments check in more often, not because they're anxious about the distance, but because you are their actual reference point for safety in the world. The metric they use to decide whether everything is okay is you. The next time you're standing at the park, watching your dog tear around in pure, unbothered joy, count those glances, because every single one of them is a choice. In the middle of his happiness, in the middle of his freedom, he is choosing to make sure you're still there. That's not trained obedience. That's love on 4 legs. We're getting close now to the one that is going to genuinely alter how you behave around your dog going forward. Number 5. Stay with me, because if you've been doing what most people do by instinct, you have been sending your dog a message you never intended to send. Number 4. The belly reveal. Here it is, the one everyone gets wrong. Your dog throws himself onto his back in front of you, belly up, paws loose in the air, every vulnerable inch of him on full display. And almost every person reading this right now immediately goes in for the belly rub, which your dog may absolutely love, but that's not actually why he did it. That's not the point he was making. In the wild, the belly is the most exposed, least protected part of any animal's body. No thick fur, no muscle layered on top, just skin over vital organs, completely open. In wolf packs, rolling onto the back in front of a dominant pack member is the deepest signal of trust that exists. And this is critical. It is not fear-based submission. It's relational submission. It's the gesture that says, I have no guard up with you. I am choosing to be completely undefended in your presence. I trust you that much. Here is what makes this genuinely profound. A 2020 study out of the University of Pisa found that when dogs rolled onto their backs in front of familiar humans as opposed to strangers, their stress hormone levels actually decreased during the exposure. The vulnerability itself was calming because of who was present. Being exposed in front of you makes your dog feel safer, not more anxious. He is showing you the most unprotected part of his body. He is doing it willingly. He is doing it calmly. And he is doing it specifically with you. That is not a petition for a belly rub. That is a declaration of complete trust. Number 5. The gift. Your dog comes bounding up to you, something locked in his mouth, eyes bright with purpose. Maybe, and brace yourself for this, it's something he excavated from the backyard that you would rather not think about too closely. He drops it at your feet, he looks up at you, he waits. Most people laugh it off. Some scold him. Some just pick the object up and walk away without acknowledging what just happened. That last one, that is the mistake. That is the moment that tells your dog, in a language he understands completely, that his offering was turned away. Here's what is actually unfolding in that moment. This behavior is rooted in wolf pack resource sharing. In a pack, food and resources don't get distributed randomly, they get offered deliberately from one bonded individual to another. It's an act of inclusion. When your dog brings you something, he is participating in that ancient exchange. He is treating you as a member of his inner circle, as someone worthy of receiving what he values most in that moment. Research from the Animal Cognition Lab at Goldsmiths, University of London, has documented that object-presenting behavior in dogs is directed preferentially toward their primary attachment figure, not toward strangers, not toward people they see occasionally, but toward the single person at the center of their social world. That stolen sock is not a sock. That squeaky toy is not a toy. It is the dog equivalent of someone saving the last piece of something, the best piece, because they thought of you. It is an act of inclusion and affection wrapped in whatever he could carry. When it happens, and it will happen, acknowledge it. Make eye contact. Say something warm. Let him feel that the gesture landed, that you received it. Then, once he's satisfied and moved on, handle the object however you need to. The acknowledgement costs you 10 seconds. The rejection costs him something much harder to measure. Number 6. The reset lean in after correction. This is the one that is going to stop you cold. You just corrected your dog. Maybe he jumped on someone who came through the door. Maybe he got into the garbage again. You said no firmly. Maybe your voice went up. The moment passes, the way those moments always do. And then sometimes 30 seconds later, sometimes 2 minutes, your dog comes back to you. He doesn't slink into a corner. He doesn't disappear under the bed. He walks back over. He sits close. He maybe presses himself against your leg. He maybe just looks at you with calm, steady eyes and stays near. And most people think, he already forgot. Dogs live in the moment. He's moved on. That is not what is happening. A landmark study published in Learning and Behaviour found that dogs possess a highly developed capacity for what researchers call social resilience, the ability to actively repair a social bond following a disruption. This is not a trait you find across the animal kingdom. It requires a specific kind of cognitive awareness. The understanding that a relationship exists as a thing, that it was momentarily strained, and that it can be restored through deliberate action. Your dog coming back to you after a correction is not memory loss. It is forgiveness. He processed what happened. He registered that something shifted between the two of you. And then he made a decision. He came back to rebuild the connection rather than withdraw from it. That requires a level of emotional sophistication that most people never think to assign to the animal curled up on their couch. And here is the part that's going to sit with you long after this ends. He comes back every time, not because he's obligated to, not because you're holding his food bowl. He comes back because the bond itself is more important to him than the discomfort of the correction. Because in the entire scope of his world, you are the relationship worth repairing. You probably got a dog because you wanted a companion, a loyal presence in the house, something that would always be glad to see you, that would be there when things got hard, that would ask nothing complicated in return. What you actually got was someone who stops mid-run in the middle of his own joy, just to confirm you're still there. Someone who brings you his most prized possessions as a gesture of belonging. Someone who rolls onto his back, fully exposed, in front of you specifically, and in doing so, feels calmer, not more vulnerable. Someone who reads the weight in a room and does something about it. Someone who comes back after every disagreement, every correction, every hard moment, not because he has to, but because he chooses to. Someone whose body just gravitates toward yours without being asked. That's not a pet. That's a decision he makes fresh, every single day. And now that you know how to read it, you're going to start seeing